What is up with my hair? Oh, it's so greasy. I need a shower. Hi guys. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing really well. I've had a nice long week off of school and I've got stuff going on. I've got job interviews to do and applications to do and getting ready for my internship, but that is not important because today I want to talk to you about writing and books because those are both things that I really, really love. Okay, first of all, for William, guess what I just finished reading? Yes, I finally finished it, and it was pretty much as good as I expected. I will agree with Alyssa, though, on the Dewey Machina, the ending. It was a little Dewey Machina. It was a little bit too easy, maybe? But anyway, I discovered something, and I think you'll really like this, okay? I was reading The Last Olympian, and I was reading it out loud because I like to do that. And I always have trouble with, like, teenage boy voice. So I'm like, well, what differentiates Percy from the other dudes in the story? And I'm like, well, he's from New York. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know, the way that the story is presented, it's very conversational. So I start reading it out loud, and this is what I discovered, okay? I love New York. You can pop out of the underworld in Central Park, hail a taxi, head down Fifth Avenue with a giant hellhound loping along behind you, and nobody even looks at you funny. Is that not the best thing you've ever heard? I mean, okay, so if Percy Jackson has this New York accent, then, oh man, I started reading it as a New York accent all throughout, and I just kept cracking myself up. It was ridiculous, but it was so much fun. And now I honestly can't think of it any other way. Oh man. I love it. Okay. The second thing I wanted to talk about was point of view in writing. Now, William, I don't know if you've got any words down on paper, but I know Emma's starting to write prolifically. So I want to talk to you about something I learned in my novel workshop class, okay? And I want to tell you about point of view. Now, when you describe your characters, there are lots of ways you can do them. Some of them are very good ways, some of them are very awful ways. Really awful. Let's do some examples, shall we? Okay, so this book is Superhuman by Michael Carroll. I picked it up because I wanted to look at good superhero fiction for you, Emma, because I don't think there is very much. Unfortunately, what I found I was not pleased with. Yeah, so we'll read this, okay? This is pretty close in chapter 2. Her brother Max was 5 years older. He was of average height and had a slim waist with a disproportionately large upper body, the result of far too many gymnasium hours on the pull-up bars and not enough on the rest of the equipment. Max had the same dark hair and piercing brown eyes as Roz, a family trait they'd inherited from their late mother. Alright, so let's talk about this, okay? The fact is that it's boring. I mean, you do get a very clear picture of what Max looks like, but so what? And you also know, yay, their mother is dead, and he's got a weird arm thing. What? It's just not very effective. And what's more, why exactly are we describing him here? And this is the point of view issue I was talking about, is if we are in Roz's point of view, then why on earth is she taking the time to describe Max? She sees him every day. There's no reason she should describe him. It's even worse when you go and describe yourself, okay? Like in the first chapter, we're in someone else's point of view. Let's see. Where did he go? He was of average height and build for his age. He had ordinary brown hair, blue eyes, and straight nose, and mostly even teeth. He was aware that he wasn't particularly good-looking, but he was fairly sure that he wasn't ugly either. Okay, but why is he thinking about this right now? Point of view issues, it's something you gotta pay attention to when you're writing. It's like saying, like, if you have a blind character, and the blind character we're in the blind character's point of view, and then someone else in the room turns to someone else. I mean, like, how do you know that? Your character is blind. It pulls us out of the point of view, it gets people out of the experience, and it kind of ruins your story as an experience. It interrupts the flow. Does that make any sense? Oh my gosh, I'm running over. Well, I don't care, because This is cool. And anyway, William missed a video anyway, so, and Emma's was late, and so I'm running over. Anyway, so, okay, plus it was boring. I mean, okay, so he talks about the big beefy arms, right? But wouldn't it be much better instead of saying he had, here, what is it? Disproportionately large upper body, if he had reached over to flip a control and Roz was struck by how beefy his arm was. Wouldn't that be much more effective? Alright, let me give you an example of a successful description from our friend Percy Jackson. Okay? Very first page. He's hanging out with Rachel. Rachel Dare. Okay. Anyway, Rachel and I were driving. Anyway, Rachel and I were driving along. It was a hot August day. Rachel's red hair was pulled back in a ponytail and she wore a white blouse over a swimsuit. I'd never seen her in anything but rowdy t-shirts and paint-spotted jeans before, and she looked like 1,000,000 golden drachmas. I mean, that's good. That's effective. And that gives us an idea of the attraction he has to Rachel and, you know, how he's struck by how she's wearing something different than usual, that sort of thing. 1,000,000 golden drachmas, that's a good way to remind us, oh yeah, he lives in a world that's way different than ours. An even better one. Alright, so this is The Fault in Our Stars. This is a very popular book by John Green, who's one of the Vlogbrothers. I would recommend it, but I also want you to have your own discretion. You know, you may or may not like some of the things you read. That is up to you to figure out whether or not you should continue to read it. Anyway, I have it, and I could probably lend it to you over Thanksgiving if either of you wanted to read it, but there's some stuff. There's some stuff. Anyway. Now, the main character's name here is... What is the main character's name? Good grief. Hazel. Hazel. Okay. Now, Hazel is at a cancer support group. That sounds really depressing, but this isn't really a cancer book. It's a life book, which is... I like it. I like it. Anyways. Okay. A boy was staring at me. I was quite sure I'd never seen him before. Long and leanly muscular, he dwarfed the molded plastic elementary school chair he was sitting in. Mahogany hair, straight and short. He looked my age, maybe a year older, and he sat with his tailbone against the edge of the chair, his posture aggressively poor, one hand half in a pocket of dark jeans. I looked away, suddenly conscious of my myriad insufficiencies. I was wearing old jeans, which had once been tight, but now sagged in weird places, and a yellow t-shirt advertising a band I didn't even like anymore. Also my hair. I had this page boy haircut, and I hadn't even bothered to, brush it. Furthermore, I had ridiculously fat chipmunk cheeks, a side effect of treatment. I looked like a normally proportioned person with a balloon for a head. This was not even to mention the cankle situation. And yet, I cut a glance to him, and his eyes were still on me. It occurred to me why they call it eye contact. Look, let me just say it, he was hot. A non-hot boy stares at you relentlessly, and it is, at best, awkward, and at worst, a form of assault. But a hot boy? Well... It occurs to me that Emma might like this book a lot better than William. Alright, so what they did right there was they kept it in Hazel's perspective the whole time, which is not hard in first person, granted. But they didn't pull it out of the moment either, okay? So someone is staring at her, which gives her an opportunity to look him over. And then think about why he's staring at her, which gives her an opportunity to think about what she looks like, which is a good way to describe yourself without going into the whole, without breaking out of the point of view. Apparently, the worst and most, cliche way to break out of point of view is to have your character look in a mirror. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, you know what? You are right. Also, you gotta keep in mind, what does the person feel about themselves? Because, okay, John Green says later on, in the Q&A thing in the back of my book, it says that Hazel's quite pretty. I mean, yeah, she's got her face puffed up like chipmunks, but she is quite pretty. So, the fact that she looks at herself and thinks, ugh, I'm such a slob, tells us a lot about Hazel, as well as, not just the way she looks, but how she feels about herself. Which is something you gotta keep in mind when you're describing your characters. Okay, this video has gone on way too long. I love you, William. I'm reading The Lost Hero next. I'm super excited to meet, is it Jason? I guess it's Jason. Anyway,